Good evening, everybody. It is 7:01 on Sunday night. Hope you had a good weekend. Um, I hope you got to do. I hope you got to relax. Didn't have to worry about work or anything like that. Back to the grind tomorrow. Lucky us. Unless you hit lotto this weekend, in which case, congratulations. You get to relax, which is pretty cool if you can do that. I myself didn't hit lotto, so I myself will be back to work tomorrow. Again, like every other week. Oh well. I do want to address something real quick. I'll only find it here. 1 second. I got notes. Couple people have asked me why do I start off excuse me, why do I start my show off with like the pirate thing going on? And I wanted to address that. So I wrote this down. Again, I write it down because if I don't, I'll forget it. So the question was, why do I kick off my podcast with a pirate theme song? It's not an accident. Pirates embody the spirit of rebellion against tyrannical overreach, a perfect fit to our fight against big government and elitist control. The High Seas Anthem channels raw freedom, rugged individualism, and a refusal to bow to the establishment. Things Trump is fighting, which are core conservative values. It's a bold call to arms, rallying patriots to sail against the woke mainstream's tide. Plus, it's damn memorable, and I like it. Cutting through the noise to get you all interested. And remember, they called us deplorable, so I'm just embracing that. I'm a deplorable, and that's fine with me. No, that wasn't a beer; it was a soda, so I can live with that. So that's why I start off with that. I think it's, like I said, I think it's catchy, and it makes sense. Right, sorry, and that's why. So thanks for asking, and I don't mind answering. So let's get right into the breaking. Well, not really breaking, but important news is going on. Um, I'm sure you all are keeping up with Texas and what's going on down there. It's been about a week, and people are still missing. I think it's over hundreds are now dead. A lot of volunteers from different states. I even think Mexico sent in some volunteers from the fire department to help. And apparently, they're concerned about more rain coming up in the next few days, which will hamper efforts to continue searching and helping people. Um, and again, there's still morons out there who are blaming Trump for this because, like I said, if like a dog gets hit in the road, it's Trump's fault. Um, Trump doesn't control the weather, and even if there were, would they say, cut NOAA's funding or something like that, I've never heard a weather report that I trust. Very, very rarely do they happen the way they say they're going to happen. So even the weather reports or warnings, you can't you take them at face value. It's not Trump's fault. And I'm personally getting sick of hearing about how everything that happens is Trump's fault. I could go on for hours about that, but we're not. That's not what we're talking about. Speaking about Mr. Trump, here we go. This past week, he cut $40 billion of free tuition, food aid, health benefits, and other uh, social programs that illegal immigrants were using. I have no problem with that. Free up that money for people who need it, who are citizens, or free it up for other people or other issues in this country. I think we need to stop. Well, we don't need to. We are starting to stop worrying about illegal aliens. If you're here illegally, you're not entitled to anything. You just aren't. And if anybody tells you are, or you think you are, you're being lied to, or you're an idiot. Um, so yeah, don't assume just because you're here, you get to get the stuff that all citizens and legal immigrants get if you're here illegally. You don't. You don't get anything. You get a swift kick in the ass and a free plane ride back to your country of origin. And that's how it should be. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make us still they're still in the Nazi kick. That doesn't make us a Nazi. Doesn't make us evil. Doesn't make us xenophobic. It makes us a country with borders and enforcing the law like every other country in the world does. It's not just us. Mexico does the same thing to people coming to their country illegally. But you can't tell the liberals that because they know everything, and anything Trump does is evil, and anybody supports him is evil. It's getting ridiculous. It's Trump derangement syndrome. It's getting worse and worse every day. I used to laugh at it. Now I just feel sorry for those people. Democrats do the same thing, and it's okay. He doesn't, and it's, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. Go figure. North Korea vows unconditional support for Russia while it's in the Ukraine war. Um, that's not new. They've already sent troops down there to help Russia. I think they're sending 15,000 more, something like that, 5,000 more, some weird number. They're saying now that 40% of the ammunition that Russia's getting is now from North Korea. Um, I don't understand why that's shocking to anybody. This is not like all of a sudden this happened. It's been going on for quite some time now. I guess they're just making it official and public. Um, North Korea is not like a powerhouse we need to be worried about. Russia is getting their, I don't want to say they're getting their ass kicked, but they are expending a lot of resources and money to fight in the Ukraine where they can't seem to gain much ground. And what they do gain, they lose, or what they do have is not much. It's like a war of attrition. They need to have somebody give them stuff because they can't do it themselves anymore. And then everybody says, well, we're worried about Russia taking over the rest of the world. They won't, after this, they're not going to be able to. They're going to be so wiped out, so depleted, so broke. They're going to have nothing left. They're not going to be able to mount a national defense force if something were to happen at this point. They're fighting a losing war. This is what you see is all they're going to be able to do. They're not going to be able to do very much after this. They're going to be exhausted. That's the best way to look at it. They're going to be exhausted after fighting this war and spending as much as they have and all the money and all the ammunition and all the materials. They're not going to be able to do very much for at least a decade after this. So I'm not really concerned about Russia anymore. I think if China were going to jump in to help, they'd have done it by now. I think they're going to stay out. I think their eyes on Taiwan, and that's where we need to be focusing. Russia and Ukraine is not our problem. It's got nothing to do with us. It won't affect us, especially now that we know Russia's not going to be able to move past Ukraine. That's it. They're done. If they can even take Ukraine. And I don't think they can because we've been supplying Ukraine. So they're pretty much set. But yeah, we need to be watching China and Taiwan. That's the big concern. Not these two fools, Kim Jong Un and Putin. I'm surprised Putin hasn't been taken out yet. Actually, I mean, he's really embarrassed Russia with this whole Ukraine thing. They haven't. I think they went in thinking they were going to just kind of cakewalk through the country and take it. And then it's turned into another Afghanistan for them. They can't gain any ground, and they're not getting their ass kicked, but they're not kicking anybody's ass. They're just spinning their wheels and spending money. I am shocked he hasn't been removed from office one way or the other. Maybe that's in the works. Who knows? But yeah, so now North Korea has vowed unconditional support for Russia, and they're losing war against Ukraine. Don't let that keep you up at night. It shouldn't. So that was some of the most important news and things like that I wanted to go over. There's a lot more breaking news, but those are some of the ones that caught my eye and I wanted to cover. And there's some other things that are kind of breaking that we're going to get into during the show here. But I want to start off with, what's going on in California. Those riots are still going on, or protests, whoever you talk to wants to call them. They haven't stopped. They just stopped getting airplay. And it was Gavin Newsom and Billy Bass, whatever her name is, the mayor of LA, still showing their ass supporting insurrections, what they're doing, an invading force, foreign country from coming. They're supporting the illegal immigration. They're saying it's good, it helps the country, blah, blah, blah. And there's also, like I said, there's always the fringe that will agree with them, the liberals the uneducated liberals, the same people who are calling Alligator Alcatraz a concentration camp. We talked about that last week. That are calling ICE the Gestapo. See, I already got into that. I don't want to get into it again. It just aggravates me. These people are comparing legitimate atrocities against mankind to law enforcement and enforcement of law. They're trying to compare the two. You can't, unless you're an idiot. Then you can't. And nobody that watches this show here now or then or later on is an idiot. And you can understand there's a difference between, hey, we're going to arrest you, put you in a detention center and send you back to your country of origin, compared to we're going to arrest you because of your religion. We're going to put you in a death camp where they're going to gas you, shoot you, experiment on you, execute you, kill your family, not feed you, just because. Smart people can see that difference. They can't. Like I said, it's a TDS. They are so obsessed, so obsessed with what Trump does, they've lost the ability to reason, and they've lost what level of intelligence they had, if ever they had any. And that's what they do. So with that, we have this jackass, Karen Bass. I call her Billy Bass. I'm sorry. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass signed an executive order protecting immigrant neighborhoods from federal raids and established protocols for city workers and giving cash assistance to illegal immigration aliens who are facing deportation or things like that. I can't. I'm pretty sure LA's probably got more important things they should be spending their money on. I mean, didn't they just have like some fires out there that decimated some major parts of the city? Shouldn't they be focusing on that rather than making sure that people who are here illegally and are going to lose their case anyway aren't receiving taxpayer money to fight the case? That just seems like it's a waste of money. It's like if you get caught speeding, you're speeding. You can't fight the fact that you were speeding. You can go to court and fight. You might lose the points, but you're still going to have to pay the fine. These people are going to be found guilty of being here illegally because they are. It's not a question if they are here illegal. It's why have you waited so long to apply for citizenship, or why haven't you in this time frame? You need to go. But she thinks it's okay to use taxpayer funds to protect, help them fight, or give them money because they can't work or because they're in hiding, and to prolong this whole ordeal. If they would just number one, in the first place, if they had just followed the law the first time around, we wouldn't be here. Really, if they said, hey, look, if you're illegal, you got to go. I'm sorry. It's not personal. It's just the law. It's like shoplifting. It's against the law. You may think you have a good reason to do it. And hell, you may have a good reason to do it, but it's still against the law. And if you get caught, there's punishment. And it's same thing with coming into the country illegally. You may have a really good reason, and if so, you can apply for it. But if you decide just to come sashaying across the border and come here illegally and you get caught, there's consequences to your actions. You're going to be deported. Or first, you're going to go to the detention center so they can give you your hearing, and then they're going to send you home. This should not be a shock to anybody. But in California, they don't believe in the law. They don't follow the laws of the land. And now they want to have taxpayers in California foot the bill to further support, because they're already supporting them, further support illegal aliens while they're, fighting law enforcement from doing raids. I don't get it. I just don't understand what the problem is with enforcing laws. You would think people would want the law enforced. Make it safer. Less expensive. I mean, there's just so many reasons why illegal immigration is just wrong. It boils down to safety and money. And like I said earlier, we're not the only country that enforces borders. Every country in the world enforces their borders. They enforce immigration policies. And if you're there too long, you have to go. Mexico does the same thing. So I don't know why everybody's so up in arms because we're doing it. Well, I told you I know why they're doing it, because they're not too bright. They're not very intelligent people. They want to argue just for the sake of arguing. You can go on Facebook and just see post after post after post of these idiots arguing concentration camps, Nazis, xenophobia, what else? Breaking families up, wishing people to die. I mean, after a while, I have to get off because the stupidity is starting to affect me. I mean, these people, and I know they're run completely by their emotions. They don't rely on logic or facts or anything. It's all on what they feel, and how they feel at the time is how they're going to react to something. You can tell them till you're blue in the face that ICE is not like the Gestapo. They're not like the SS. They're not secretly rounding up people. They're doing it in broad daylight. And they're not arresting everybody. They're going after illegal immigrants. Those with a criminal record, they go after first. But if you're dumb enough to go protest it and you're here illegally, they're going to lock you up too, because it's just convenient that you're there. They don't have to come look for you. Your dumbass has made it very clear, hey, I'm here illegally, I'm protesting it. They're just going to get you. This country, unless we do something soon, or not soon, if we don't continue what's trying to be done now, this country is going to turn into a third world country. I'm telling you right now. If after Trump gets out of office, we don't elect somebody else who's a Republican or conservative, and they get another liberal into the White House, like Lunch Bucket Joe, this country's screwed. We dodged a bullet with Camilla. Huge bullet. Because you imagine if she were in office now, how LA would be. That would be how the nation would be. we would do exactly what they're doing. So we dodged a huge bullet with that. But if we don't follow through in the next presidential election and get another candidate that's conservative in office, it's going to go right back to pot. And I've said it before. And Trump's one man. He can't do it all by himself. He's only got 4 years, and he can't do everything in 4 years. So we need to carry this momentum down the road for the next 5 or 6 presidential elections. It's going to take that long. It's not going to happen in 1 or 2 cycles. And if you think that, I'm sorry. I don't mean to piss on your Wheaties. But he's not going to change it in the next, 3.5 years? Yeah, 3.5 years. He's not going to change everything that needs to be changed in 3.5 years. And if he does, and the next election they elected a Republican or a Democrat liberal in office, they're just going to undo everything he did. So that's why it's important to support the most conservative candidate you can and protect what we got, because what we got's pretty good. Here she is again, and this Basshole confronted ICE officers at MacArthur Park, demanding they stop doing what they were doing, stop enforcing the law because it's not fair. You know what? I don't even care what she said. I mean, you can look at her and tell she's not a very intelligent person. You hear her speak, you definitely know she's not very intelligent. What she's doing now is, like I've said before, she is appealing to the lowest common denominator, which is stupid people. Stupid people believe that she's really out there because she cares. She's really out there to get votes. And she knows if she shows her 90-pound head enough time in front of news cameras and says the right things that stupid people agree with, she's going to get reelected. It's really that simple. And that's why she's doing it. I will correct it. Maybe she does care. Maybe, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Maybe she thinks she's doing the right thing by telling law enforcement, don't enforce the laws here. There's no one's illegal. Stupid shit like that. Cliche things. Maybe she thinks she's actually helping. She's not. And to interfere with the police, with police in California is a crime, and she can be fined or put in jail. But that won't happen to her. It won't happen to any politician that interferes with law enforcement, like the ones that New Jersey tried to push their way into the detention center. Haven't heard anything about them since that happened, right? Do you know why? Because nothing's going to happen to them. Vast majority of Republicans look out for Democrats. Democrats don't care about Republicans, but most Republicans are too stupid to realize that. So they're going to make sure nothing happens to these people. None of these people are going to go to jail. None of these people are going to get fined. They'll get censored. That's the most I can see happening. You know what that means? They give them a hard time on the floor, or they publicly bash them. So it's just like an election campaign. Nothing changes. But yeah, nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing will happen to anybody else. And the same thing would happen with Republicans. Nothing will happen to them. Nothing. Because we, the people, don't demand that something happen to them. They are our employees. And if an employee of yours came into your office and told you had to stop doing what you're doing because they don't agree with it and were giving you a hard time, you would fire them. Immediately, you would fire them. But I guess since they're politicians, they're rock stars, they're gods, and most people feel they can do what they want to do, say what they want to say, go where they want to go because, they're congressmen or they're a mayor of a major city or they're senators or whatever. It's not how it works, people. If we can't do it, they can't do it. We can't interfere with the police. We can't obstruct justice, just like they can't. They can't drive drunk, just like we can't. There's nothing that they can do that we can't. They might have some perks of the position because they're in Congress or they're mayor of a city, but as the law looks at it, they're no different than us. That's why the Lady Justice wears a blindfold. We're all the same. We have allowed them to forget that, and we've allowed them to do what they want to do. I blame us. I don't blame them. I mean, people only do what they can get away with. It's like if someone acts like a doormat and you wipe your feet on them every time you see them, do you really blame the person that's wiping their feet on the person? Or do you blame the person that's just laying there and let people walk all over them? You blame the person that's letting people walk all over them. I blame us as a whole for allowing politicians to run the show any way they want. And that's on both sides of the aisle. And I'm talking in general. I'm not talking specifically. So please, the people, I don't understand why people take time out of the day to send me like an email where they're, you're an idiot, blah, blah. I don't read it. When you open your email, it has that line that says, John Doe, who the email's from, and like gives you the first couple lines or the first sentence or so from the email. If it starts off with you idiot, I just delete it. I don't even know what it says beyond that. I don't care. I don't care what people think. And yes, if you send a good email, yes, of course I read that. I'm not stupid. I just don't read the ones that bash me and call me names because I don't need that. I was married once, don't need to go through that again. And I'm not bashing marriage, so please stop. I'm making a joke. And we used to make those a lot in my day because people had a sense of humor and they weren't offended and horribly crushed psychologically by things people said all the time. Um, but yeah, you got the mayors and the governor of California just doing what they want to do. And you got AOC calling Trump a rapist. These people need to be held accountable. If I called somebody on here publicly a rapist or a criminal or a thief or whatever, and it's not true, I can be held liable. That's slander, defamation of character. Why should they be any different? Why should we allow them to do what we can't? We're not saying that they don't need to live by stricter rules. We're saying they just need to live by the rules in general. Same rules we got. And just in case Basshole's watching this, resisting, delaying, or obstructing a peace officer or EMT in their performance of their duties is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in county jail and or a fine of up to $1,000. That's in California. Every state is different, and in the states, every county may be different, but that's what it is in LA County. Do you think any of that's going to happen there? I bet you dollars to donuts, nothing happens. There'll be some people talking about, she needs to be held accountable. They may even have like a couple of congressmen and senators come out and scream and yell and pound their chest. We're going to have a hearing about this and blah, 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 blah. Nothing's going to happen. At the end of the day, nothing will happen. And we need to stop letting them have these hearings. How much does that cost us? Hearings for everything. I remember what was it? I can't remember how long ago, but they had baseball hearings in Congress about people using steroids in baseball. Who gives a shit? Really? That's what my tax dollars are going to find out if Barry Bonds or Mark McGwire were juicing up. I don't care. You know what? Let them use all the drugs they want to in sports. As far as I'm concerned, they should have an all drug sports teams where you can do anything you want. That would be fine with me because I don't care. But that's the type of things our government spends money on. Hearings about stupid shit that nobody cares about, or hearings about things that are important that nothing ever comes of. Nothing ever comes of it because we don't push the issue. We go, okay, they had a hearing, that's good. And then everybody goes back to doing what they were doing before, living their life the way they were living it, and nothing happens to these people. And then it gets worse and worse and worse. Every decade, every year, there's some new and improved stupidity they're doing that was it's improved over what they did last year. And nothing happens to them. And then we all sit back, like with this Karen Bass fool. How can they get away with this? How is she allowed to interrupt like an active investigation or an active arrest going on and not get in trouble? If that were me, they'd lock me up. I wonder why it's happening. Look in the mirror. That's why it's happening. We're allowing it to happen. We're allowing these people to live by a different set of rules. And again, it's both sides of the aisle. I'm not picking on one side more than the other. Does one side commit more of that? Yes. Democrats and liberals definitely do more damage than the Republican side. But the Republicans do some stupid shit too. Let's not just sit here and point fingers and not take accountability for ourselves. We all do stupid shit. It just seems, like I said, Democrats do it a lot more. And there's a pattern. They do it consistently. And they get pissed off when the Republicans do it. And then the Republicans will do something and get pissed off at the Democrats. It's two different sides of the same coin is what's going on. So yeah, in California, the riots are still going on. The protests are still going on. People are still getting locked up. Mayors and, like I said, the governor out there screaming and yelling that laws shouldn't be enforced. And that's what they're saying. Don't let them throw word salad at you and make you feel bad. Because anybody who breaks the law should be held accountable. And the crime should fit the punishment. I'm not saying people here illegally should be executed. No. People here illegally should be shipped back to their country of origin. That's a fair punishment for that crime. And that's what's happening. And they don't want that because Democrats know that's their voting base. They're going to lose votes if we deport millions of illegal immigrants. I mean, where I live in Frederick, in city elections, you don't have to be a citizen to vote in them. And that just is what it is. Nobody bitches or cries about it. No one's brought it to court or challenged it. I screamed about it in the high heavens and nobody listened to me. The Republican Party in this area sat with their thumbs up their ass and didn't do anything. Because they want to get along. They want to be liked. They want to be invited to the parties. So yeah, we're all to blame for this. We all are. We all need to take a bite of that shit sandwich and go, that's good. Because we're all to blame for this. And if you have a liberal friend that's going, well, it's wrong, and if you think it's okay for people to get separated from their families, you're evil. You know what? The family's more than welcome to leave with the person that's deported. They made that very clear. And the whole thing was, if you self-deported, you could come back. You could come back. Your family could leave with you, or your family could stay here. You could come back. It's not wrong to enforce your borders. It's not wrong to enforce the laws of the land. It's not wrong. Not wrong at all. If we didn't enforce laws, they would bitch about laws not being enforced. You can't win with that group of people, with those liberals. You can't win. No matter what you do, you're going to be wrong. So that's why I don't care what they say. Let them whine, let them cry. I don't care, because you're never going to be right. It's never going to be good enough for them. It's always going to be wrong. It's always going to be too harsh. It's always going to be homophobic or transphobic or xenophobic, or you're going to be a Nazi. No matter what you do, that's what they're going to view you as. So we need to stop trying to compromise or even bring them in on the conversation. Like when we did that with Iraq, I thought it was great. Don't tell them about it. They don't need to know. Tell the people that have to know, and then you go about it and afterwards go, yeah, we did it. We didn't tell you because we don't fucking trust you. I'm pretty sure you would have told Iran what we were going to do had I told you ahead of time. So yeah, we need to stop trying to work with them. Compromise, reach across the aisle. That has never worked. Every time we reach across the aisle, they slap our hand away. How many times you got to get punched in the face before you realize the person that's punching you doesn't like you, no matter what you do? We need to come to that realization that the Democratic Party is not what it used to be. They don't like America. They don't like Americans. They don't like our laws. They want to destroy the country from within. And if you don't believe me, look at the deportation issues going on now. They are against them. They are flat out against them. They're pro-riots, pro-protest, and I'm all for protests. That's your right. As long as you do it and you're not hurting other people, you're not assaulting law enforcement, you're not burning buildings, you're not hurting people, you can protest. You can carry any sign you want, even if it's got a swastika on it. Don't agree with it, but that's your right. There's nobody against protests. We're against violent protests. We're against riots. We're against assault. We're against theft. We're against destruction of private property. That's where the line gets drawn. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit here too. But protest all you want. Just do it with some respect. Not even respect. Use common sense. It ain't yours. Don't touch it. Don't burn it. Don't hit them. Don't take stuff. If you can follow those rules, protest all you want. I have no problem with it. But when you start affecting other people's lives in a negative manner, then there's a problem. But you can't tell a liberal that. They think it's, what was it, Summer of Love, they call it, when they were burning cities all over the country. They saw no problem with it. It was all good. That was fine. The mayor of Baltimore, when the Freddie Gray riots were going on, give them space to do what they need to do. That's the leadership we have in some of these parts of this country. Complete and utter morons that I wouldn't let lead a shift at McDonald's on the overnight crew. But we give them cities, and we give them districts, and we give them states, and we give them a country. I think we need to start mandating an IQ test for anybody that wants to run for public office. And there needs to be a minimum score. And if you can't hit that minimum score, sorry, you're not running for public office. I really think that. There should be that kind of test, a physical fitness test, and a medical test. You need to pass all those. And if you can pass those 3 tests, then you're more than welcome to run for public office. But if you can't, you can't. When I ran for office, they wanted to know employers' names, credit history. None of your business. Who I've worked for in the past is none of your business. What my credit score is none of your business. The shit they should have asked about, they never really did. They didn't ask about my criminal record. They didn't ask about any of that. They asked about work history, current address, and your credit report. That was their concern. Not that if I've been arrested for killing people or, I've been arrested 25 times for drunk driving. And nothing like that. They weren't concerned about that. They wanted to know what my credit rating was with Target. That's what the concern is in this country. I think they even wanted to look at my social media sites before I started doing this. So it's a good thing that before I started doing this, well, they probably would have locked me up and put me in some psych ward or something. But yeah, so California's still a shithole run by incompetent fools, followed by other incompetent fools, and none of them can figure out why their state or this country is in such a horrible shape. When all they got to do is look in the mirror, and they'll know instantly what's going on. But like I've said before, you can't convince an idiot that they're an idiot. So they'll never take accountability for anything they've done, which is sad because some of them are smart. Well, I don't want to say smart. Some of them are good people. They got their hearts in the right place. They're just being misled. And you're not going to be able to tell them that. They're not going to listen to you. And that's a shame. All right. Got to pay the bills. And I'll be right back.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So yeah, there's a lot of good podcasts on America's Pulse Network. You got Damon the Hammer Galdo, also has a radio show. Alexander Levine has 2 shows, great shows. They're both great people, smart people, know what they're talking about. Alexandra's also our White House correspondent. She gets to go to D.C. and go to the White House and talk to important people because she is polished and intelligent. If they sent me down there, I would probably get us kicked out of the White House and we'd be banned for life. So it's probably a good thing I am not involved in any of that. So God bless her. God bless the Hammer. And as always, the man behind the scenes is Damon Sherrod. He's our producer. He gets to keep things in line, or try to, and make sure that we don't step in big steamy piles of it while we're podcasting and talking to you all. So he's like the unsung hero, the puppet master. So thank you very much. We appreciate everything he does. So yeah, don't just watch me, watch the other people too. And on Wednesdays is the fun night. That's when we do the pulse. That's where we all get together with some guests and we talk about everything. That's always a fun time, really fun time. And one of the people we have on Wednesdays, Tim Fazenbaker. He lives in Dundalk, Maryland. I don't know if you're from Maryland or not, but he's running for office out there. So if you can support him as much as you can. Great guy, very down to earth, very, very approachable. I've met him a few times in person and a lot of times on here. I have never once spoken to him and felt like I was bothering him or that he didn't have the time for me. Very nice guy, very conservative, and a great head of hair. I mean, and I know hair. He's got a great head of it. So support him. Seriously, though, support him. He's a good guy. He needs all the support he can get. Apparently, Larry Pig Hogan, who is just a rhino. I mean, embodies the title, is pushing someone in his district where Tim is running and trying to get him elected. Tim Fazenbaker is the only true electable candidate there. Support him. Money and time. I'm sure if he's on Wednesday, we'll talk about that too. So, keeping in the vein of LA and people interfering, it's sad when the president has to tell police officers that they can protect themselves against rioters. That, hey, it's okay. You have total authorization to protect yourselves. It's okay. You're allowed to. Federal immigration officers have faced rocks and bricks, fireworks. What else? Sticks, mass people. I mean, just everything you could think of at a riot, they've faced. And they've tried to calm down, try to hold themselves back, which I think is a mistake. I think I'll get into that later on. But yeah, so the president has granted them authorization to protect themselves. While some states are trying to pass laws that ICE can't wear masks, or law enforcement period can't wear masks, and they have to wear visible ID, which I'm for. If it's visible ID, it says, hey, my name is Seth Eisenberg, ICE, and my employee number or badge number. That's all you need. But they want addresses where these people live. They want their full names, and you're not going to get it. And I can completely understand why you can't get an ICE agent's full name and home address, and because number one, you don't need it. You don't need that from a police officer. They've got their name, they've got their badge with their number, and they can tell you what department they're from. Beyond that, you don't need anything. That's all I should have to tell you. My name, my last name, my badge number, and the department I'm with. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. I don't understand why people are pushing to find out where they live. Well, I know why, because they want to go hurt their families. These people are all for, against what ICE is doing. You can't go snatch people up and do this. They want to go to these people's houses and involve their families in this. That have their families that have nothing to do with this, children and wives and husbands or whatever. Don't need it. I think it's ridiculous, and I hope those laws, if they do pass for the ID, I hope that's all it is. Badge number, department, and last name. Officer so-and-so, immigration, border patrol, badge number 27. It's all it needs to be. And if they want more, tough shit, you're not getting it. And then they're bitching about masks. The same people who are bitching about masks are the ones that wear masks everywhere they go because they're afraid they're going to get some deadly virus that's going to kill them immediately. And it's okay for them to do that, but nobody else can. Because if somebody else is doing it, it's wrong. If I'm doing it, I'm trying to protect my fellow Americans. Like I said, you will never convince an idiot they're an idiot. You will never convince the left that they're wrong, that they're on the wrong side of pretty much everything that comes up. You will never convince them that, hey, you're wrong. You break the law, you're going to be held accountable. If you attack police officers, they have every right to defend themselves. And it's sad that the president has to tell them that. Their department should be telling them that, like, hey, don't stand there and let people throw bricks at you. You don't got to stand there and let people throw rocks at you or fireworks or try to run you over. You have every right to defend yourself. We as citizens have a legal obligation to retreat in most states. And I understand there's states where you have to stand your ground, and that's fine. I'm talking in general. We have a legal right or legal obligation to retreat, to step back from danger as far as we can while it's safe. Again, some states are different. Police officers have a legal obligation to advance. They are not allowed to retreat. They have to go forward. And yes, there are some departments that don't do that. We can go back and look at the departments where there were school shootings, where they stood there. That was wrong. And most officers in this country will tell you that's wrong. They have an obligation to advance in the face of danger. That's why they're police. That's why they carry a gun. They are required. As a matter of fact, it used to be if you were a police officer and you retreated or you didn't advance, you could lose your job. Again, states are different. I'm talking in generalities. So these officers have to continue to go forward, or they have to stand their ground. So they shouldn't have to stand there and let people throw rocks at them or throw bricks at them or eggs or whatever, firework, whatever. They shouldn't have to go through that. And if you have to be told that's wrong, you deserve to eat a nightstick. You deserve to get tased or pepper sprayed or what are those paintball guns that have the CS gas in them. You deserve it because obviously you weren't raised right. And then that's carried on to your adult life to where you think it's okay to throw rocks at people you disagree with. It's okay to throw bricks at people you disagree with. It's okay to get together in large groups of morons, march down the street, affect everybody else's life, and assault people because you don't agree with them. You deserve everything that happens to you. It's like that more. I wanted to get the video. I don't know if it can be put up now, but it was in Florida. There was a Trump rally or something going on, and this guy stopped. It's all in video. He was in a white T-shirt across the street, and he's screaming and yelling at him. And he comes across the street towards the people, and he's screaming and yelling at him. And the guy walks by, and he shoves him, all because he's got TDS. Shoves the guy out of nowhere. A police officer tackles the guy on the ground, and then try to get him down in a handcuff. Well, the guy was charged with assault, DWI, and some other things. That's what police deal with at these riots on a grander scale. It's not just one person. It's like hundreds of people running at them and throwing things. And we, in this country, we got to tell them that, hey, it's okay to defend yourself. We will fight in court and scream and yell if the government tells us we can't defend ourselves. We will go to court, and we should, rightfully so. Everybody has a God-given right to defend themselves. But we don't want that to apply. Some of us don't want that to apply to law enforcement. Some of us want law enforcement to be punching bags for us so we can scream and yell and shove them. And they shouldn't be able to retaliate. That's not right. It's not how it works, folks. If you want the right to defend yourself, everybody gets it, not just you. So I think it's kind of sad that the president of the country has to tell police officers and ICE agents in riot situations, it's okay to defend yourself. Don't stand there and let these morons beat on you. We're gonna defend you. And this is why. 86,000 assaults on officers. That's the highest it's been in over 30 years. So since the 90s, this is the highest it's ever been. It's a 53% increase from 5 years ago. So it's out of hand. And again, like I said this past Wednesday, I blame the Democrats for this, and I blame the media, and I also blame parents. I blame the media because they continue this narrative that police officers and ICE are Gestapo and they're Nazis and they're SS. And when you do that, like I said, there are people out there that believe you. And who doesn't want to hurt a Nazi? Who doesn't want to hurt an SS officer or Gestapo? Who doesn't want to hurt them? And if you hear it enough and they repeat it enough, people will start to believe that these people really are Nazis. So I need to go out there and stop them from hurting people. So I blame the media. I blame parents for not teaching their kids respect. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a bunch of people who are rioting, for the most part, who all got participation trophies just for showing up. They were told from the minute they got to school they were special and perfect and they're never wrong. You will always be right. And your opinion is more important than anybody else's. You don't have to listen to anybody else's. And we sent them out into society and we wonder why we have morons like this and we have school shootings and we have people like this because we have not taught them that, hey, you're not always going to be right. You are not as special as you think you are. You're a member of a society. You have to function within that society. And sometimes you're not going to like what happens. And there are avenues you can take if you don't like something that happens. You can address your grievances according to the Constitution. You don't have a right to go assault people. You don't have a right to burn buildings. But no one's ever told these people no, so they don't know how to react when they're told no. Or when they hear something they don't like. They don't have coping skills. Their coping skills is to damage, is to get violent. That's how they cope with being told no or hearing things they don't like. And unfortunately, police officers and ICE are on that front line. So they got to deal with it. So yeah, a 53% increase since 2020 on assaulting officers. It's the highest it's been in 30 years. You can see it right there. Over 86,000 assaults on officers. That's ridiculous. And I'm sure that number is going to climb after the riots in LA that have been going on. You don't have a right to assault anybody. Police officer, ICE agent, neighbor, waitress, bartender. You have no right to assault anybody because they say something you don't like. There's nothing in the Constitution that says, oh, if you get called this name, you're allowed to assault a person. There's nothing that says that. Nothing. There's nothing that says, well, if they're enforcing a law you don't like, you can assault them. There's no law that says that. That's why resisting arrest is a crime. You can be charged with resist. I just showed you. You can be charged with resisting arrest. If you have a problem, you go to court. If you have a problem, you talk to your congressman, your senator, or your mayor, or whoever you want to talk to. Or you can protest, like I said, without burning shit down and assaulting people. Let your feelings be known. But there's a right way and wrong way to do it. And once you start assaulting people, you've gone the wrong way. There's nothing good about it. Whatever moral high ground you had to begin with, you have just lost. And you're a criminal. You're a criminal at that point. Once you assault somebody, you're a criminal. Unless you're defending yourself, there's no reason to put your hands or throw bricks at cops or anything like we see in LA. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing as a society to see people acting like that. And then I think it was this weekend we had the ICE raids at the weed farm in California, and they were tear gassing people because it got out of hand. People don't like to be told no. They don't like to be told you're wrong, you're coming with me, so they fight. Even I don't like to hear it, but I would never do that. I would never show my ass like that in public. I wouldn't fight with a cop or an ICE agent. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. For God's sakes. And of course, the ICE agents were wrong. They should have just stood there and let these people mob them and not done anything about it. While they were there, I think they found 10 or 14 underage minors working there without their parents there. So a weed farm, not allowed to have minors working there, has undocumented underage children, which is a breaking the law, working there, and they rescued them. Of course, that doesn't matter. What matters is they're there to arrest, minorities. That's the only reason they were there, because there's minorities there. Well, yeah, because these minorities most likely are probably here illegally. And while they were there, they found they were breaking other laws. What is the problem? And then apparently they're saying they pushed a guy off the roof. I've watched the video. The guy jumped trying to get away from ICE because he didn't want to get deported. You know how you avoid getting deported? You apply them. You start the process to become a citizen, you fucking idiot. You don't jump off a building. You've had years and years and years to start the process, and you've chosen not to. I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you at all. And that's another thing with all these riots going on. I don't see any of these liberals who are rioting and assaulting police officers and burning cars rushing out to sponsor an illegal alien to get their process started. I don't see them volunteering money to help them. They're not doing that because it's not about them, the illegal immigrants. It's about the person protesting, trying to make themselves feel better. They could give a shit about these people get deported. It's not about that. It's about they want to feel morally superior to everybody around them. So they're out there doing that. Because if they really cared, like I said, they'd be offering money like, hey, let me pay for your citizenship. Let's get that process started. But they're not, because it's not about that. Don't mistake anything they're doing with virtue. It's about ego. Because like I said, if they were serious about helping these people, that's what they would be doing. They wouldn't be telling them to keep coming across the border illegally. They'd look, stop, contact this number or contact me. We'll pay for your process and get you citizenship. They're not doing that because it ain't about that. And they'll never admit that. They can't admit it because they never, like I said, we see it. If you get an IQ above a flip-flop, you see it. You know exactly what they're doing. And like I said, it's not about helping people or keeping families together. It's about making themselves feel good because they're not helping at all. None of them are helping. They're criticizing and assaulting and burning, but not one of them is helping. That's all you got to know about that. They're not out there trying to get people, I don't know if it's registered or signed up or whatever it is to start that process to become a citizen. None of them are. None of them. They're bitching about the name of Alligator Alcatraz. That's what they're the American concentration camp. And goddamn mouth breather. That's what they're focusing on. That it's there's 34 people sleeping in a cage, and 34 beds, and only 3 bath or toilets with sinks attached to them per cage. It's not supposed to be Club Med. They're not there because they won a contest. It's not because they won a raffle. They're there because they broke the law. They're in the process of being removed from the country. It's not supposed to be pleasant. You're not supposed to want to be there. It's the whole purpose of prison. It's supposed to be a place you want to get out of. And when you get out, you don't want to break the law to come back in. I don't understand why these people think it's supposed to be pleasant. I mean, they're not beating them there. They're getting fed. They got a roof over their head. They're being treated like human beings. But it's a jail. At the end of the day, it's a jail. You've lost your freedom to move. But it's a concentration camp. I want somebody to come on here and debate me on concentration camps. They can take the side of Alligator Alcatraz being a concentration camp, and I'll take the side of Auschwitz was a concentration camp. And we can debate. We can go back and forth on that. I mean, it'll be very one-sided, and it won't be fun for them or their people listening because you can't defend calling Alligator Alcatraz a concentration camp. Can't. They'll try, bless their hearts, but it's not going to work. But yeah, so you got that going on. The president's got to tell police they can defend themselves. People want ICE to wear badges, which I agree with. There should be an ID card on their vest, on their kit that says who they are, last name, department, and identification number. And that should be it. Like I said, you don't need a full name. You don't need an address. All you need is last name, badge number, department. That's it. That's all you're entitled to know. Maybe not even a last name. Maybe just an identification number in the department. I think that's even better. Based on the fact of what they're dealing with and who they may be dealing with, cartels, MS-13, the less information that's given out to the general public, better. So I'm all for identification, badge number, and department, and title, sergeant, lieutenant, private, whatever. That's all they need. But yeah, I've got a horrible feeling that if California can get that law passed, it's going to sweep across the nation, and then it's going to be just nuts. It's going to be nuts. And like I said, we need to start getting concerned if these laws come to pass. Even if it's just in one state, we need to be a little concerned that people are siding with criminals and making them the victims and then persecuting those that we have as protectors or law enforcement are being portrayed as the bad guys. You can't do that. And if that starts to happen, everything is going to fall apart. There is an echo. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how to correct the echo. If I could, I would. I apologize for that. The producer could see that, so maybe there's something he can do on his end. There's nothing I can do. I apologize. But yeah, So California's again trying to, criminalize law enforcement, trying to hamper their efforts and handcuff them even more than they already are in California. Why anybody would want to be law enforcement in California is beyond me, honestly. I would not want to be a cop in California. If I were a police officer, I would leave California, go to another state where I actually could do my job and not be persecuted for doing it. It's really that simple. But God bless the guys and women that want to be cops there, because somebody's got to do it. And I guess they think they can do it, and that's great. But yeah, so just back to this. Just think about that. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And there's no reason for it. Do I think everybody behind the badge should be behind the badge? No, and I've said that before. There are cops who shouldn't be cops. I completely agree with that. Completely do, but you don't punish all the other cops in the world for one or two bad cops. Like that, was it in Cincinnati? The cops shot the kid's father, or shot the father's kid, and then he went out and killed a random cop in retaliation. Why? And then people are I can understand why he did that. Or that trash that shot the insurance president. I can understand why he did it. It doesn't make sense. And you shouldn't understand why somebody would want to murder somebody else. There's no justification unless he's actively trying to hurt you or your loved ones. There's no justification for murdering people. Do I think that we should show the worst of what people do online to wake people up to how bad it should be, or do you think we should censor everything? I don't think it matters to people how bad it is. I mean, I could turn on a TV show and see worse things on a TV show than I see on the news. I don't think people care. I don't think people care until it happens to them, until it involves them or someone they know. There's just so much apathy in the world now that it doesn't bother them. They don't care. Like I said before, there's that 3-foot bubble people have, and most people, that's it. If it's outside that bubble, they don't care. Don't bother me. Don't care. But I think shock value is a temporary fix. I think it works temporarily. Then people get desensitized and numb to it, and it doesn't matter anymore. I think what we need to do is starting kindergarten, start teaching kids respect again. Do I think Trump withheld the Epstein files because of the involvement of Israeli intelligence? Do I think Israel's involved with Epstein? Possible. Do I think the CIA was? Possible. The only thing that's not possible is putting toothpaste back in the tube. Do I think that's why Trump's not releasing it? No, I don't know why Trump's not releasing it. I don't know why they've decided not to. There are some things we'll never know. We can sit around and talk about, what if, or put our tinfoil hats on and come up with all sorts of grandiose ideas. But at the end of the day, we don't know. Do I think it'll come out? I hope so. I eventually hope it comes out. Do I think there's some nefarious reason why right now it's not coming out? No, I don't. I really don't. Why would it matter who we work for if what they're saying is truth? Would it change your mind if Epstein was a Mossad agent and his files were on American politicians who were pedophiles? Would that change your mind about the American politicians who were pedophiles? Would you think, oh, it's not their fault, it's Israel's fault? Would that make a bit of difference on what they've been accused of? It shouldn't. And if it does, I don't know what to tell you. I don't care if the guy was working for Russian intelligence. If what he's saying is true, that's all that matters to me. If what they're reporting on these famous people and politicians are involved with child pornography or child sexual assaulting, don't care who got it. Don't care how they got it. All I care is if it's true or not. That's all I care about at the end of the day. I think they both were CIA. Israel intelligence. Maxwell's father was Israeli intelligence. Bonjour even said he was an asset of Israel intelligence prior to becoming the deputy director. Okay, does that change anything? I don't understand the point you're trying to make. If they did what they said they did, I don't care how we got the information. I don't care who they work for. If what they're saying is true, at the end of the day, that's all that I matter. And then I hope they're held responsible. I don't care how they got the information. Don't give a shit. It involves children. Don't care who got it. Don't care how they got it. Don't care who they work for. If you're hurting children, you deserve to die at the end of the day. Excuse me. Got to pay the bills again. And I'll be right back.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexander Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Okay, we're back, and like I said, that's Alexander Levine. She is our White House correspondent. She gets to do all the cool stuff, and I don't. Which, like I said, is probably a good thing, because I'm the blunt instrument. She is like the scalpel. I'm the club, which is fine. I can live with that. I don't care. But she's good at what she does, and I'm glad it's her. Again, you got Damon Galdo, the Hammer, another good guy, very detail-oriented, good guy. They're the face of the network. I'm like the heavy, the enforcer, like the goon on the hockey team. Not really good at hockey, but I can enforce. So we all work well together, which is all I care about, is working well together. I kind of jumping off topic. I don't know if y'all were watching Wednesday on the Pulse. I was talking about the chocolate milk kick I was on. I'd drank 2 gallons in a week. Okay, well, I'm off the chocolate milk kick now. I haven't had chocolate milk since Wednesday because I did drink a lot. I had half a gallon. I'm back onto water and sugar-free soda. I don't know how long that'll last, but I'm off the chocolate milk kick, and chocolate milk's expensive. It's like $5-6 a gallon. And I don't know why. It's not like it's some special recipe that you got to use to make it. You put chocolate syrup in it, you mix it up, and that's it. But it's expensive. So I'm just, like I said, a side note, my ADD got the better of me. That's what I'm doing. I'm off the chocolate milk for a while. Who knows how long that'll last, but I'm off. So back to more important stuff. So right now we got the follow with me. Okay, just stick with me on this one. So it was reported earlier that Bongino and Patel were upset with Bondi, and they're talking about resigning because of the way she was handling the Epstein case. Because we were talking about that before. They were going to leave. Bongino first started that off, said he would seriously consider resigning if something didn't change. And then they said that Patel kind of chimed in and said, well, if Bongino leaves, I'm leaving. All that. All over how the Epstein files are being handled. As a matter of fact, Bongino is reportedly threatening to quit if Bondi remains in charge. Now, according to multiple reports, Patel has allegedly indicated that if Bongino goes, he's going. So that's what they've been talking about. Of course, the liberals have been jumping all over that and just going insane with it. Look, they're falling apart. They can't even work together. How are they going to run a country if they can't do this and they can't do that? Bongino's going to leave. Again, this feeds into the conspiracy theorists that there's something out there and Bongino and Patel know it, and that Bondi's holding it back and Trump's involved. And it's like an onion. You keep pulling it back. You get stinkier and stinkier. And there's more and more people think there are. And when people talk about governmental conspiracies, my comeback is, have you been to the DMV? Have you been to the post office? They can't run those. What makes you think they can have hundreds of people in on a conspiracy and nobody know about it? It can't be done. With the government, it can't be done. They can't even run a goddamn post office efficiently. So if there were 100 people on a conspiracy, do you not think within a month somebody would say something? Would go to the news and deep throat it and go, hey, I got some information for you. It wouldn't be secret very long. I don't know why people have such faith in the government when it comes to that kind of thing. I don't. I've worked for them. They barely can do the day-to-day shit. So you start adding some secret stuff in there, it would fall apart. Especially something like this. Somebody would come out and say, oh, no, I've seen the Epstein list. It's crazy. These people are on it. It would come out pretty quick. So, But this feeds into all that hysteria, that there's something nefarious going on and they're hiding it from us because they know. Do I think there's current politicians on it? Yes, I do. I'm not saying there aren't. Do I think it would ruin a lot of careers of like well-known people, both politically and like in entertainment industry? Yes, I do. In this country and other countries, hell yes, I do. I'm not saying it wouldn't. What I'm saying is it's not some grand conspiracy. Maybe they're handling it a different way. Like when there's an investigation going on, the police don't tell you they're investigating so and so and so and so and so and so. They don't give you any heads up. They just do and go, no, we're looking into it. There's nothing there. Everything's fine. Because they don't want people they're investigating to know that they're still looking into it. They want them to be calm. And then when people are calm and don't think something's going on, they make mistakes. It's like with the Iran thing. We're going to give you 2 weeks. We want you to come to the table. We're going to talk about it. What, 2 days later, we bombed the shit out of them. They didn't go, hey, we're going to come bomb you in 2 days if you don't do what we want you to do. They said, no, you're cool. Take 2 weeks. Take your time. Talk about it. We'll get back to you in 2 weeks. And then they bombed them. That could be going on with the Epstein files. We don't know. They could be laying a trap for somebody. Like, oh, no, we're not even worried about that anymore. Are you crazy? There's no list. There's nothing going on. The whole time, they're like, yes, we're very close to doing something. We just don't want to let people on. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. I can only assume, just like anybody else on the outside looking can do is assume. I hope and pray that somewhere in the near future, this is all handled and rectified, that all the questions are answered and people will start being held accountable. I firmly believe that. So if in like 6 or 7 months, nothing has come from it, then yeah, I might start to think about it differently. I might be a little upset. But right now, I will give them the benefit of the doubt because everything up to this point, Trump said he's going to do, he's done. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe there's something working behind the scenes now and they're close to doing something. So I'm not going to complain right now. But yeah, so that was going on in the news. And when it comes to the news or social media, you can't believe anything you read and you believe half of what you see. So then, I believe today or yesterday, we got this. However, Patel clarified that the rumors are not true. The conspiracy theories just aren't true. Never have been. It's an honor to serve the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and I'll continue to do so for as long as he calls on me. So all that was much to do about nothing. It was probably a statement taken by overheard by someone, and they made it to this huge mountain of, oh my God, everyone's leaving unless we do this. That proves there's something wrong with the Epstein files, that there's something there, and they're hiding it because these people are going to leave. And then one of the people they're saying is going to leave has said himself, it's not true. I'm going to stay here as long as he wants me to be here. And again, this will not put conspiracies to rest. There's just looking at people, well, he's just saying that because he has to or whatever. There you go. So we heard it from the man's mouth himself. Kash Patel has never said that if Bongino leaves, I'm leaving too. It's an honor to serve. And I'm guaranteeing if they talk to Bongino, he's going to say the same thing. And maybe he has. I just couldn't find that article. And I know there's people out there saying, well, I don't think you said that. How do we know he said it? Well, how do you know he said what he said before then? I mean, at some point, you got to believe something. You have to. You just can't continue to think everything is a lie if it's something you don't agree with. But if you agree with it, then it's the truth. You got two sides of the story. Someone saying he did, saying they heard him say he did, and now you have him saying he didn't. I choose to believe the person himself versus someone quoting someone they heard say something. I'll take him at his word. He never said it. That's fine. Time will tell. If he didn't say it, then he's going to quit soon. We know this. But I choose to believe him. And you should too till something different happens. We got to stop with the conspiracy theory, folks. We have to. Not everything is a conspiracy. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes it is what it is. Not everything has some deeper, sinister meaning. Not every time are they trying to hide something from us. Does it happen? Yes, but not every time. Not every time. When we cry wolf constantly over and over and over, just like the little boy in the story, we lose credibility. People stop listening to us. So when something real does happen and we cry wolf again, nobody believes us then. We're like, dude, you've said this 5,000 times and it's all been wrong. Should I believe you now? You're full of shit then, you're full of shit now. And people don't listen. We have to temper our imaginations. We have to logically approach things. Do I think Israel was involved with Epstein? And like I said, it's possible. It's possible the CIA was. And lots of things are possible. But we can't take a possibility and turn it into some big conspiracy. Just because we think it might have been doesn't make it so. He might have been Israeli intelligence. So Israel's involved. They're blackmail. Stop. Stop with Israel may be involved. Let's find out. Let's look at the facts. Or the CIA may be involved. Well, if they're involved, that's because stop. Let's follow the facts. Let's look to see if they truly were involved before we start throwing out these grand conspiracies. Because if it turns out that's not true, we look like idiots. And then the next time something true happens, all people are going to remember the last conspiracy you talked about that wasn't true, and they're not going to listen to you anymore. And you may be dead on, like, hey, we have to, this is a real thing. This is true. This is what's going on. Yeah, you said that the last time too, and you were just as convincing about it last time, and you were wrong. You're probably wrong this time. So blah, go on, you do you, leave us alone. We just got to be careful. Everything is not a conspiracy. It really isn't. Are there bad things that go on? Yes. I've never once said there wasn't. I've never once said we live in, nirvana, it's perfection. I've never said that. I'm just saying think logically. And sometimes it's best to keep your mouth shut until you know more than it is to spew out theories that try to pass them off as fact. Just relax. Everything comes out. Nothing is hidden. Nothing can stay hidden forever. It's impossible. Like I said, somebody somewhere is going to say something. The only way to keep a secret is to tell nobody. Once you start involving other people in it, chances are someone somewhere at some time is going to say something. People like to talk. There's no way around it. You're not going to keep it hidden forever. So, and I don't like to play the what if game or could be game because there's no answers to those. Could he have been part of Israeli intelligence? Yeah, maybe. But that doesn't change the fact that what he found is the truth. It doesn't change it. These people still assaulted children. They still raped underage girls or whatever it is they did on that horrible, horrible island with that horrible, horrible human being. Doesn't change the fact what was done there. At the end of the day, all we know for a fact is Epstein is dead, his partner is in jail, and the island's shut down. Those are the facts. That's what we know right now. And those are good things. They can't hurt anybody anymore. Should people be held accountable? Hell yes. People deserve to be held accountable. But remember, deserve's got nothing to do with it. If people got what they deserved, there'd be a lot of upset people in this world. A lot of hurt, upset people. So deserve's got nothing to do with it. They need to be held accountable. Accountability. And hopefully that will happen. Like I said, I'm willing to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't lied to us yet. He promised to do the deportations. That's happening. Promised to lower taxes. He's done that. Get us out of wars. He's gotten us out of wars. He's got wars slowing down. He's delivering on what he said. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt and give this time. Like I said, there could be an investigation going on that we don't know about, and they could be close to some arrests, and they don't want to alert or give anybody a heads up. My old man was a police officer, so I kind of understand how investigations work. They keep it very close to the chest. They don't talk about it. They don't tell anybody about it until the 11th hour. Boom, we're ready to make arrests. Then they can come out and say, we did this, this, and this. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt. And if you're a religious person like I am, at the end of the day, just because you escape man's justice doesn't mean you're going to escape God's justice. We all got to stand tall before the man and answer for what we've done. So sooner or later, everybody's held accountable. That doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just is. And I'm not saying we should forget about it. So please don't send me nasty emails. Really, because I'm not going to read them. And I know a lot of you put a lot of time and effort into it. I can just see just from the one or two sentences that pop up, you're really into it. You've thought about it. You've probably read it out loud to the other morons you live with. They all applauded and cheered you while they're eating their Hot Pockets and drinking their juice boxes. Probably right there with you going, yeah, give it to them. And I don't want to hurt your feelings because I don't read it. So just save it. Really, just save it. I'm not going to read it. Another thing Trump said he's going to do is shrink the federal government. Supreme Court says he can. He can proceed with the federal job cuts while the legal fights continue. I don't understand what the problem is. There should be no job in the world. Not even the president's job is a guarantee. He can be impeached and removed from office. Nobody's job should be so secure that you don't have to worry about losing your job or being laid off. Again, that brings us to the Supreme Court, and that's an issue we can get into another day. I will say this: I don't think they should serve for life. I don't think that's how it should be, but we can get into that another time. But just because you're a federal employee doesn't mean you're guaranteed a job forever. It doesn't mean you get to suck on the government tit until you're 65 or 70 and decide to leave and then keep getting pension. No, there are departments upon departments upon departments in the government that we don't need. There are redundancies. There are departments that check on other departments that check on other departments. And if departments checking on them, it's like a big circle jerk. We don't need that. The government is bloated. Why do you think our taxes are so high? Why do you think everything is outrageously expensive? Because we have to pay for those jobs. The government produces nothing that makes money. They don't produce a good or service that they charge people for. They take taxes from us. And when they need to pay for more, they increase our taxes. That's how they pay government employees. That's how government programs are funded, by tax dollars. I don't know why people don't understand that. There's no such thing as free when it comes from the government. Someone somewhere is paying for that. And 9 times out of 10, that someone somewhere is you and me on our paychecks from work. So there's nothing free. So when they make the federal government smaller and smaller, that's less and less money that has to go to feed that monster, theoretically. And that means taxes should get less and less and less. And we all know that's bullshit. Because once the government takes something, they very rarely give it back. So I'm not saying, hey, check your withholdings, your next paycheck, you're going to get like $100 more a paycheck. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this is a start. We don't need, 80,000 IRS agents or whatever it was. We don't need that. We don't need the Federal Department of Education. We don't need that. There are so many departments we could do without. They need to get rid of them. And let us enjoy that. Let us, stop taking such a big, wet, juicy bite out of my ass every 2 weeks. Let me enjoy my life. That's what needs to happen. And that's why I said earlier, this has to continue. We just can't assume that in 4 years this is all going to be straight and life can go on. We have to continue this. We have to let conservative after conservative after conservative for the foreseeable future. Because once we stop that, once the liberals get back in charge, everything we have is going to be undone. I guarantee you, if the next president's a liberal, he's going to hire back everybody that was fired. I guarantee it. And he's going to add more jobs to the federal government. So this is a good thing. I'm sorry for the people who lost their jobs. I'm really sorry. But you know what? Welcome to the real world. People get fired and laid off all the time. You're no different. You're not special. I'm sure you've learned a good skill working with the federal government. Go transfer it to the private sector. I wish you the best. But I'm tired of paying for you. Especially when most of the shit we pay for doesn't affect us anyway. Like they're sending money to Venezuela to teach people how to dance? Or is that Africa? It's stupid shit they're deciding where to send our tax dollars. That needs to stop. We need to stop being the Walmart of the world and giving shit to people. We're not the Salvation Army. This is the United States, not the United States of the Salvation Army or the United States of thrift shops. You got a problem, you have a country, fix it yourself. We need to stop paying for everybody else. And that would be great. But who knows? Hopefully that'll change and it'll continue to change. Another big win. Supreme Court hands Trump a major win. And thank God the Supreme Court limits a judge's ability to block birthright citizenship order nationwide. Great. You know what that means? No more pregnancy vacations for people from other countries. Because they would do that. People close to giving birth would come to the U.S., give birth so they could stay here because now their kid's a citizen and they can stay. It's got to stop. That's ridiculous. I mean, that just boggles my mind. That completely boggles my mind. You come from, I don't know, let's just say Saudi Arabia or something like that, Libya or the Congo, and you come here and your wife's pregnant, you come here with the sole purpose of them having birth here, and then all of a sudden you're a citizen. I don't agree with that. I don't know what the forefathers were thinking when they did that. I'm not a constitutional scholar, so I'm not going to get into a debate about it. I'm giving you my opinion. I think that's ridiculous. Just because your kid's born here but you're a citizen of another country. It doesn't change that. You're still a citizen of another country. You're not a citizen of this country. Goodbye. And how do they pay for that? Do we pay for that? We probably do. Probably tax dollars that pay for people from other countries to have kids here. But that ended, the Supreme Court said, hey, other judges, you just can't write, you can't write orders that supersede what the president wants to do. You can't do that, which is great. Good to hear. It's the same thing with the immigration deportation. That applies to that. These judges can't just start writing orders saying, when you can't do it anymore, you have to stop. The Supreme Court says, no, you can't do that anymore. Sorry. You can't block the deportation because you don't agree with it. Supreme Court is the law of the land. The buck stops with them. What they say is the law. There's no like U.S. Supreme Court that you can go to next if you don't agree with them. That is it. Whatever their ruling is in stone. It's done. The only way it can be reversed is a constitutional amendment or the Supreme Court reversing their decision or writing another decision that supersedes that decision. And those don't happen often at all, especially a constitutional amendment. There's so much involved with that. That's like fantasy thinking. And I'm sure not the Constitution, I'm sure the Supreme Court has reversed rulings or ruled against their own rulings in the past. Again, doesn't happen very often. But you still have judges writing these orders thinking it's the law. No, you were told that you can't do it. Stop. Because as soon as you do it, it's not a valid order. It's not a valid ruling. You can't. The Supreme Court has said you can't do that. That's it. And those rulings that these lower courts put out don't have to be followed. Why? Because the Supreme Court says it's wrong. You can't. And that's the end of that discussion. But if you go on Facebook or on social media, you're going to have people that will argue with you that no, a federal judge can supersede the U.S. Supreme Court. No, they can't. You can't. And I learned that in 5th or 6th grade. Supreme Court is just that, the Supreme Court of the land. They rule on the law. And once they rule, that is it. There's no more discussion. If they make a ruling, that's it. And they made a ruling. That's it. No more discussion. The discussion's over. They've ruled. Move it on. Now, if they were to kick this back down to the lower courts, then yes, there's back and forth. But once they rule, that's it. And apparently these liberal judges don't care. They think they can overwrite or overrule or ignore a ruling of the Supreme Court. Now, let's make no mistake. If the Supreme Court ruled again, for them, saying, hey, you can do that, they'd love it. Then they'd listen to it. But since it's something they don't like, and most of the judges that don't like it are liberal, again, no accountability. They can do what they want to do and say what they want to say. They're going to pretend like they never heard it. Like, I don't care what the Supreme Court says. I'm going to do what I want to do. Because we allow it. These judges and politicians that decide to ignore the Supreme Court need to be held accountable, need to be charged or fined, or whatever it is you do happens to you when you ignore the Supreme Court. That's what needs to happen. Not just ignore it. It has to be dealt with. But again, it's going to be a long time before anybody challenges these judges. They're going to keep writing these stupid orders that really are just not worth the paper they're written on. Hold on for 1 second. Someone's asking me a question. But yeah, so it's all about winning. And I don't even look at it as winning at this point. Because it's not about winning or losing. It's about right or wrong. It's about common sense. It's about enforcing the law of the lands. And the Supreme Court is not there to make policy. They're not there to interpret rules based on politics or political leanings. They're there to interpret the law based on the Constitution and what they know about the law, and that's what they're doing. So I don't call it so much winning as calling it siding with common sense, siding with the law. They're not interpreting it, trying to interject their personal political feelings into it. They're saying the law says this. We've looked at it. This is what we've come to. This is how we're going to rule. And I know that Justice Barrett wrote, I don't know if it was a response or just a post. I don't want to call it a post, but I know what to call it, about Brown, pretty much calling her an idiot with no real grasp on the Constitution and the law, and really lit into her. And I think the next show we do, I want to have that because it was interesting. I don't think that's really happened before between justices. And I believe Kenyatta, or I don't purposely mean to ruin to butcher her name. I honestly am not trying to. I know her last name is Brown. I think she was one of the justices that Lunch Bucket appointed during the auto pen time. So there's a lot of people saying that she's not even a legitimate justice. And again, another conspiracy theory. I don't know. But I would like to look more into that before I talk about that anymore, about the Barrett speaking on Brown. I thought it was very interesting and well written. And of course, she wasn't as blunt as me. She didn't call her an idiot. That's me. Again, Justice Barrett's a very intelligent woman, and I'm sure Ms. Brown's a very intelligent woman too. I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying I said she was an idiot, but that's not what was said. So there's that. So maybe next show, maybe Wednesday on the Pulse, we could talk about that. I don't know. So wrapping up the show here, we're getting close to that time. I want to get into towards the accountability part and kind of discuss that. I know we've all seen the riots in LA. We see this, people putting their hands out or putting their hands up, and like, now you can't touch me. This is my get out of jail free card. My hands are in the air. I want to put my hands out like I don't mean to. Once your gathering has been deemed unlawful or violent, stick your hands in the air, wave a white flag, hold a flower out. You're going to get your ass kicked if you don't disperse. And that's how it should be. I don't know why these people think doing this makes everything they've done prior to that okay. You're at an illegal assembly because it's violent. It's common sense. You don't get to get out of it because your hands are in the air. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I get a timeout. No, you need to leave. You don't need to walk up to the officer with your hands up, like with your camera phone out and your hands up. Because if I were the officer, I'd be waiting for you to get close enough to where I could club you, drag you behind the line, and cuff you and arrest you. You just need to go. At this point, it's about ego. These protesters are so adamant that they're right, that their ego is overriding their common sense, and they're not dispersing. In this picture, you can see there's smoke in the air. There is flashbangs and tear gas, everything. It pretty much indicates to me that they've told you disperse. And they're trying to make it very clear that you need to disperse. And these morons think because their hands are up, they're okay. No, you're not. Because right before this picture's taken, you know what's going on? They're burning shit, waving foreign flags, starting fires, and assaulting people. They don't show you that in the media, that right before the guy put his hands up, he lit a car on fire, or he punched a cop, or he broke into a building, or he assaulted somebody. They don't show you that. They just want to show you with their hands up, like they're innocent, like, oh, look at that. Little Johnny just left the orphanage where he was reading to blind children, and he was just trying to communicate with the officer, so he put his hands up. No, Joey just lit a car on fire, broke in and stole a TV, and he got into a fight with a cop, and now he's getting his ass kicked, and he's putting his hands in the air like that means it's over. No, that's not how it works in real life, and the media will never tell you that's what was going on. Like this, like they think this now means I can do whatever I want because my hands are in the air. No, it does not mean you're at a riot. You were at a protest that turned violent and has become a riot that was now deemed unlawful, and you've been told to disperse. That's why see those green guns they have? Those are tear gas guns, CS guns. They don't take those out just because you're there marching. I've seen plenty of marches where they don't have that out there. They're out there because that has been deemed an illegal assembly. You've become violent, and you're not adhering to the laws of the land, and you need to disperse. So put your hands up in the air. That just gives them a bigger target to shoot you in the chest with one of those beanbag guns, or they get a nice shot to spear you and take you to the ground. Putting your hands up means absolutely nothing at this point. Really. You're demanding that they follow the law, but you're not. Again, these are the same people who got participation trophies throughout their whole life and told how great and wonderful they are and never heard the word no. Now they think they raise their hands. That's it. You can't touch me. I'm sure that has caused some very awkward moments for people. And by awkward, I mean painful. So if you plan on going to a protest and you're fighting with the police and there are people around you burning things and assaulting people, and then you hear disperse, putting your hands up at that point means absolutely nothing. You're in with that crowd now. You are going to be treated accordingly. The best advice is, number one, if you're going to a protest, make sure it stays civilly disobedient. You can be disobedient. That's fine. But when you start assaulting and breaking laws and hurting people, you've gone past civil disobedience and you've gone into criminal actions. And you deserve to be treated like a criminal. So I would make sure before I went to a protest that the people I'm going to protest with have an IQ above a houseplant and understand that little line that they shouldn't cross. And if for 1 second I don't think they understand that line, I'm leaving. And I don't understand these people who bring children with them. They're children to these protests. Are you fucking stupid? You have to be the dumbest parent in the world if you think it's okay to bring your child to a protest of something of this magnitude, because it's inevitably going to get out of hand. All it takes is one person doing something stupid, and then it spreads like wildfire. And before you know it, there's tear gas, and there's horses, and there's riot cops coming down hitting people, and there you are with your kid. That's stupid. That is stupid. So what I'm going to do is, like I always do, share my opinion. And again, it's my opinion. And you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. I've got it on my iPad because, hey, it makes it easier because my handwriting is horrible. And I kind of touched on this earlier in the program, and I just kind of want to finish with this. Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, has infected swaths of society, turning otherwise rational people into frothing, obsessive caricatures who've abandoned reason for an unhinged vendetta against one man. This isn't just a political disagreement. It's a pathological fixation that distorts reality, poisons discourse, and exposes a cowardly refusal to grapple with the world as it is. The term, coined during Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, describes an irrational hatred that blinds suffering to logic or nuance. TDS isn't about policy critiques or moral objections. It's a visceral, all-consuming rage that drives people to see Trump as the root of all evil, from economic woes to personal insecurities. X posts reveal the extent. Users with the blue check bios spew daily tirades, blaming Trump for everything from climate change to their morning coffee going cold. A 2024 study from the American Psychological Associations noted that 62% of self-identified anti-Trump respondents exhibited heightened anxiety and cognitive bias and unable to assess his actions without hyperbole. The symptoms are glaring. Sufferers twist every Trump move into an apocalyptic narrative. A tax cut, fascism. A tweet, incitement. A rally, insurrection. They cherry pick facts, ignore context, and dismiss his supporters, half the country, as brainwashed deplorables. This isn't principled opposition, it's intellectual laziness. Instead of engaging with complex issues like trade deficits or immigration policy, TDS victims reduce everything to Trump bad. It's a tantrum masquerading as analysis. The root lies in ego and tribalism. TDS thrives among those who tie their identity to being the resistance, a self-aggrandized delusion fueled by social media clout. X amplifies this, with influencers racking up likes for hyperbolic rants with algorithms where algorithms trap them in anti-Trump echo chambers. The mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, and their ilk pour gasoline on that fire, framing every Trump action as a crisis to keep viewers hooked. A 2025 Media Research Center reported that 87% of Trump-related coverage on major networks was negative, even when discussing neutral topics like economic data. This isn't journalism, it's propaganda that feeds the deranged. The consequences are toxic. TDS fractures families and friendships, with sufferers shunning anyone who doesn't share their obsession. It poisons discourse, replacing debate with hysteria. X threads devolve into screaming matches where nuance is the enemy. Worse, it distracts from real problems. While TDS victims fixate on Trump's latest soundbite, issues like wage stagnation or border security fester unaddressed. They're so busy hating the man, they can't see the system that's not working and could be fixed all around them. The hypocrisy is galling. Many TDS sufferers claim to champion democracy while dismissing millions of Trump voters as idiots or bigots. They decry his rhetoric as divisive yet sling insults like Nazi or traitor with glee. They demand accountability, but ignore their own side's failures, Biden's gaffes, Harris's incoherence, or the media's selective outrage. It's a one-way street of sanctimony. There's no easy cure. Some argue exposure to diverse perspectives could help, but TDS victims cling to their dogma like it's a life raft. X's algorithm doesn't help, serving them endless anti-Trump content to keep the rage cycle spinning. A few brave souls, former liberals like Glenn Greenwald, call out the madness, but they're drowned out by the insane mob. The only hope is self-awareness. Sufferers must confront their obsession, question their sources, and engage with reality beyond their 3-foot bubble. Until then, TDS remains a self-inflicted wound, turning people into pawns of their own hatred. They're not fighting Trump. They're fighting themselves and losing spectacularly. Again, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree to it. You can think it's ridiculous and then go on about your business. But I figured I'd share that with you just so you know where I stood. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. Again, Wednesday is the Pulse at 8. That's when all of us get together. And then you have, excuse me, I got something in my throat. Damon the Hammer Galdo and his show and radio show. Alexandra Levine and her 2 shows. She's also the White House correspondent. I'm here on Sundays at 7. If you're interested in becoming a podcaster here, go to our website or the X page and follow the directions. Or if you want to do some advertising with us, again, get a hold of me or any of the other podcasters or our producer, and we will help you. Other than that, thank you very much. Again, it's incredible that you all spend time with me on your time off. I don't have the words other than thank you. I hope I see you on Wednesday. If not, I'll see you at 7:30 or 7 next Sunday. And remember, excuse me, if you live your life based on principle, you're going to live a pretty good life. Everybody have a good evening, and I will see you on Wednesday.